Hello, welcome back. It's me, Adam. You are watching Unlimited Options Investing. And in this video, we're talking crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the altcoins absolutely massacred since the highs back in November of 2021. Similar to stocks, whereas felt like week after week after week, we've been going down. It hasn't nearly been as bad as crypto. In this video, we're going to be talking about what's been going on, where I think things are headed, and my favorite part, technical analysis. Right now, no one wants to touch anything that's risky. The further along we're going on that risk curve, the less and less people want to touch it. And what's one of the riskiest asset classes? Crypto. And the way they trade is based entirely on pure fear and pure greed, whereas with stocks, people more tend to look at the fundamentals. For example, the S&P 500 year to date is down more or less 20%, the NASDAQ around 30%, and you look at any crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or those altcoins are going to be down 70, 80, 90, or even some of them 99.9%. It's a really funny phenomenon when you look at the psychology of people in general. The higher things go up, the more excited, the euphoria comes in, it's the best thing ever. People buy it at all-time highs, and then when things go down, no one wants to touch it just because it could go down even lower. What if it goes down another 50% or 70%? Even if they like the prices, even if they love the fundamentals when it was at all-time highs, now that things go down, the psychology changes and no one wants to touch at all a piece of that pie. So the way I saw this crypto bubble over the past couple of years and the euphoria really reminds me of what I've been reading about the dot-com bubble. As long as something had .com at the end of its name, it went to the literal moon. It didn't matter what it did. It didn't matter what its revenues or its fundamentals. Even Amazon.com after that bubble popped went down 90%. So just because Bitcoin or Ethereum or a project that may survive in the long term has gone down a lot right now, doesn't mean it's absolutely going to fail. If you talk to anyone that's been in Bitcoin or crypto for the past 5 or 10 years, they'll tell you that a 70 to 90% drop is normal and they expect it, they welcome it, they use it as an opportunity to buy more. Now, just because it's happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. Past performance doesn't necessarily indicate what's going to happen moving forward. I get a lot of speculation and euphoria on what could be NFTs, Metaverse, Web3. Not to say that's not going to happen, but maybe we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, maybe a decade or two. Maybe we're a lot closer than we think, but for the time being, it's not happening right now. One of the most damning examples I'm going to show you right now is Cisco Systems, which back in the dot-com bubble went from lows of $5 more or less all the way up to about 80, and ever since then, 20 years ago or 20 plus years ago, we haven't even reached that same level, reaching a peak of about $60 back in December of last year. Whether you're looking at the major coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the altcoins, what's ultimately going to determine whether they're going to succeed or fail are based on a plethora of different variables, which are very, very difficult to determine beforehand. Again, you can have speculation on what you think, but at the same time, it just depends on the utility, the mass adoption, and time will play its course. Natural selection, as Darwin would say, is going to take place, and whatever is going to thrive and be the best at what it does will ultimately succeed after a certain amount of time, and a bunch of these projects are just going to fall and just not work, and that's just the natural law and order of how things are going to happen. And you could say something very similar to the major companies in the S&P 500. Why did Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, why did they succeed and all the other ones in the dot-com bubble fail and go bankrupt and never hit all-time highs again? Because Apple, Microsoft, Google, all of them are the best at what they do. People use them and essentially need them today in today's ecosystem. So they have to exist or else people can't. For example, Microsoft and their enterprise software, people need it to run their businesses. And if Microsoft were to go away tomorrow, then how are people going to communicate? They're going to have to find something else, and it's going to be very, very difficult, especially for what these companies provide to people every day. Now, I don't know if you could say the same thing about crypto. If Bitcoin, Ethereum were to disappear tomorrow, I don't think anything would really change about the world tomorrow. It would still run just fine. Of course, people that are really into crypto would feel the pain, but the average person wouldn't even notice a damn thing. The global crypto market cap is $929 billion, and that's not insignificant whatsoever. But compared to where we were at all-time highs, we were just below $3 trillion in market cap. So 66% down from where we were all-time. So Bitcoin at all-time highs was just under 70,000. We're now trading around 20,000, a market cap of $400 billion. And the market cap for Bitcoin at its all-time highs was more above $1 trillion than the global market cap is today. Ethereum trying to hold that $1,000 mark. Again, we were below 20,000 in Bitcoin and below 1,000 in Ethereum just a few days ago, this past weekend. Ethereum used to be almost $5,000 back in November. It just shows how fast markets can change, whether you're looking at equities or crypto, whether to the upside or the downside. Some kind of news, some kind of anything can happen, liquidity, some news cycle, whatever. Just like a snap of a finger, you're going up 10, 20, 30%, or you're losing 10, 20, 30%, whether it's up or down. It's no surprise we're having a liquidity crisis with all of the price declines. Look no further than crypto lender Celsius, which last week froze its platform from withdrawals, from transfers to account, and we're seeing a lot of pain right down to the consumer. And even looking back at the Super Bowl of this year, not even 6 months ago, think of all the crypto advertisements you saw. We saw Staples Center turn into Crypto.com Arena. Not even 6 months later, a lot of them are feeling a lot of liquidity issues right now. So how are they going to survive? What's going to happen? We're going to have to see it play out. It's going to be super interesting. And taking a look at the technical analysis side of things, so looking at Bitcoin on the daily, again, technical analysis can only go so far when things are falling right off of a cliff. But again, looking at the price action, we finally got that green candle a few days ago. So we did finally find some buyers. We found some liquidity just below that $18,000 mark. We had an indecision candle yesterday, and today we are seeing some kind of a follow through. So it is encouraging, at least for the very short term, but no reason to celebrate whatsoever. We're still in a downtrend. We're below the 20 EMA on the daily, the 50 EMA, and the 200 simple moving day average. And if we zoom out and take a look back in 2020, back in that euphoria phase in December of 2020, there was a little bit of consolidation around this $18,000 to $19,000 mark. So it is a little bit encouraging that buyers did step up. We did find some liquidity. We found the buyers. We found out where some of them are. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are at that long-term bottom and it's only going to go up from here. But at least for the very short term, we do have some kind of basis to work on. But the way I'm looking at crypto right now, especially with the stock market looking the way it is, everything's really based on macroeconomics, inflation, the invasion in Ukraine, consumer sentiment. If we're not having risk on in equities and technology, things that are proven that we need for the long term, why would crypto do any better? We would need that pivot from the Fed that everything's okay, inflation is tamed down a little bit, and we have that green signal. We don't have it just yet, so I'm not very hopeful until we see that clear cut. Okay, we're in the clear right now, but until then, until equities and risk on and technology start ramping up, I don't see the same thing happening with crypto whatsoever. Looking at Ethereum, we have a very similar chart where we had a green engulfing candle the other day, reaching a low of just below $900 a coin, and we're having a little bit of follow through now, but no reason to get excited or to cheer just yet. We're still in that downtrend below the moving averages. And when we zoom out back to 2020, did we have consolidation in this area? Yes, we did, back in January of 2021. So makes sense the buyers stepped up here, but is this going to be the long-term bottom? Is anyone's guess. So in crypto, there's a bunch of variables, but ultimately it depends on that pure greed and pure fear aspect of when it comes to trading it. And right now, we're purely engulfed in fear. There's so many things that are going wrong. We do not have the green light from the Fed, from the sentiment we're seeing in stocks, from geopolitically what's been going on, inflation. People just aren't confident putting their money into something that's risky right now. Let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on crypto? Do you think it's a Ponzi scheme? Do you believe in the projects long term? Which projects do you believe in? And when are we eventually going to get out of this rut? Let me know. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.